Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and let me be real with you for a second because I have watched more Porsche owners blow their own engines than I can count, and almost every single time, it was not the car's fault, it was theirs. Nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants to blame the IMS bearing. Everybody wants to blame bore scoring. Everybody wants to point at Stuttgart and say Porsche sold me a flawed car. And yeah, well, sometimes that is true, but most of the time the engine was fine. The owner, they just killed it. So today we're stack ranking the 9 ways Porsche owners destroyed their own motors, starting with the one that claims more engines than everything else on this list combined. And my 996, well, it blew up. So I had to get a 4-liter in it, which has been awesome, but the price tag, 40 grand, was a lot. So I'm gonna tell you exactly everything that you need to avoid on every single one. Like, subscribe so we can hit 2 mil by the end of the year, and let's go. Okay, this is number 1, and it's not even close. And here's the thing about Porsche flat 6 engines that nobody wants to say out loud, but I will. They burn oil by design. This is not a defect. This is part of owning a high revving flat engine. The engineers know it, the dealers know it, and most owners find out the hard way. The problem is not the engine burning oil. The problem is that owners stop checking. They start to trust the service intervals. They trust the digital oil level display. They trust warning lights to bail them out. And every single one of those things will let you down. By the time most oil pressure warnings fire, bearings are already running hotter than they should. You are not getting an early warning. You are getting a notification that damage has already started. On the street, it looks like you're a half a quart low, then another half, then another. Nothing feels wrong, no smoke, no drama, car pulls great, you keep driving. Meanwhile, your bearings are running in conditions they were never designed to. On track, it gets worse fast. High G cornering physically moves oil away from the pickup, pressure drops instantly. Not gradually, instantly. Bearings do not get lubrication. Bearings do not complain, they just fail. And by the time you hear anything, it is already over. Spun rod bearings, seized pistons, engines that die without a single warning sound. This is the number 1 because it does not require a design flaw. It does not require bad luck. It does not care what year your car is or how many miles are on it. It only requires oil not to be where it needs to be. So guys, check your oil every single time you drive. Hey guys, real quick, the giveaway for the Shelby and Supra and the $100,000 has ended, and well, the winners are being picked right now, but we're coming back bigger and badder and better. So click the link in the pinned first comment because like Rocky, who won the GTR, like Greg, who won the 100K, you can sign up to be notified and get 100 free entries once it goes live. So click the link down below, go put in your email, and I can't wait to show you what we have cooking. All right. Back to the show. Okay, this is the one that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, and when it does, people massively underestimate how fast it ends your engine. Here's what actually happening inside those cars. Porsche ran a ton of plastic in the cooling system. Pipes, fittings, housing. It was fine when the car was new. 10, 15 years later, that plastic is brittle. It fails suddenly, and when it does, coolant goes everywhere it should not, and heat goes somewhere it should not. Small leaks get ignored. Coolant gets old and loses its protective properties. Radiators slowly clog with debris and stop doing their job efficiently. Here's the part that surprises people. Overheating damage does not happen gradually. It happens in minutes. Warped heads, blown head gaskets, cracked blocks. By the time your temperature needle is climbing, the damage is often already done. Aluminum does not forgive heat the way iron does. This outranks IMS and bore scoring on this list for one reason. Coolant failures will kill your engine regardless of what generation that you own. How many miles are on it or how carefully you drive it, a 996 owner and a 997 owner and an air-cooled owner are all sharing the same risk equally. Replace your plastic coolant pipes, run fresh coolant, know your cooling system. Okay, now we're getting into one that everybody already knows about, and I want to be precise here because there is a lot of bad information floating around. This is an M96 and M97 engine issue. That means 1997 to 2008. That covers the 996, the 997.1, the 986 Boxster, and the 987 Boxster in Cayman. It does not affect every 911 ever made, especially the turbos, which are Medskers, but it does affect a massive number of ones currently on the used market. So here is what actually happens. The intermediate shaft bearing is a sealed ball bearing. It is not fed by engine oil pressure the way the rest of your engine is. When it fails, metal contamination spreads through the oil system. Timing jumps, valves meet pistons, the engine destroys itself, often with zero warning. The single row bearing versions found in certain 997.1 cars is the most dangerous because unlike the earlier dual row design, it does not generate debris that you can catch with an oil analysis before failure. It just goes. No noise, no smoke, no clue. It is not internet mythology. This is the confirmed engineering weak point. Owner behavior does not cause it, but owner inaction allows it. The IMS retrofit and IMS solution product exists specifically to replace this bearing with something that does not have this failure mode. As much at least. If you own an affected car and have not addressed this, that is the most important thing you can do on this list. This is what killed the 996 that I have. This one is complicated, and that is exactly why people get it confused so much. Bore scoring is not purely a design defect, and it is not purely owner error. It is essentially both. Here's the actual mechanism. The piston skirt coating wears away. Aluminum pistons make contact with aluminum cylinder walls. When that happens, the cylinder wall gets scored and the damage progresses from there. Oil consumption increases, ring seals break down. Eventually, you are looking at a full engine rebuild. $40,000, anyone? Hey, at least it's a 4-liter. Well, now, the air oil separator is a huge factor here, and most people just miss it. When the AOS fails, oil vapor gets pulled into the intake and washes the protective film right off your cylinder walls. A failed AOS is one of the primary contributors to bore scoring, and it is the part that fails with age on these engines. The 3.8-liter M97 and the 997.1 Carrera S is the engine most commonly associated with this problem. Cold climate owners and people who drive hard before oil temperature stabilizes are the highest risk. Now, the reason this sits below the IMS on this list is that bore scoring is usually cumulative rather than instant. You can hear early symptoms, you can track oil consumption. A bore scope during a pre-purchase inspection can catch it before you buy a problem. But once scoring is established, there is no patch. You are doing a full rebuild. Okay, so checking your oil level is one thing. Actually maintaining your oil properly is another conversation entirely. Factory service intervals on these cars are marketing math, not engineering math. Experienced Porsche owners who want long engine lives are doing oil changes at 5,000 miles or less. Some are doing oil analysis like Blackstone to track wear metals and catch problems before they become catastrophic. I do it every single time I do an oil change. Viscosity matters, spec matters. Running the wrong oil or letting it go too long between changes does not usually kill an engine instantly. It kills it quietly over time through accelerated bearing wear, faster bore scoring, and reduced longevity on every moving part inside the motor. Death by 1,000 cuts. So stay on top of your oil. Okay, this one gets misunderstood constantly, and I want to clear it up, because I've owned Porsches for almost 20 years now. You should not sit and idle to warm up your Porsche. You should drive it pretty much immediately, gently. The metric that matters is oil temperature, not coolant temperature. Coolant temperature climbs pretty quick. Oil temperature takes much longer. Until that oil is up to operating temperature, it is not flowing the way it needs to, and it is not protecting your engine the way it needs to. I keep my revs under 3,000 RPMs until the oil temp hits around 145 degrees. Once it climbs up to about 186 degrees, it is fully up to temp and ready to be driven hard. This is when you can stop babying it. Cold start abuse on its own is not going to immediately destroy your engine, but stacked with long oil change intervals and neglected maintenance is absolutely shortening your engine's life. Okay, this is a newer problem. I'm not really for it, and it's entirely self-inflicted. You know those pops and bangs happening when the fuel is injected into the exhaust without being ignited in the combustion chamber? That fuel ignites in the exhaust. That creates massive heat in a place where it is not designed to handle it. Burned exhaust valves, turbo failures, catalytic converter destruction. It sounds cool on Insta, but it's not cool when your exhaust valves, well, they're gone. Okay, this is a mistake a lot of my friends have made, especially with air-cooled cars. Lightweight flywheels. It sounds good in practice, but it's not balanced for your rotating assembly. Aftermarket parts are not engineered for Porsche tolerances. Random components installed by people who guessed at specs, well, that's not very good either. So these failures are ugly, but they are rare. You have to actively try to do this, and my friend that bought a 993 turbo with a lightweight flywheel actually put a regular flywheel back in, which was a bummer, but it was just way too hard to drive. Okay, Porsches take a long time to warm up, and short trips and excessive idling let fuel dilute the oil. This is the biggest issue on air-cooled cars historically, but it's worth knowing on any Porsche. Cam and rocker wear, well, it'll follow. Drive it properly or store it properly. There is no in between. Okay, so Having owned Porsches for about 20 years, this is what I want you to take from this. Most Porsche engines do not die from a mistake. They die from stacked risks. Low oil plus old coolant plus long intervals plus cold abuse plus an ignored AOS plus an unaddressed IMS. Design flaws set the trap. Owner habits decide whether you fall into it. These cars, they are not fragile. In fact, my dad and I always joke that they are tractors. They are incredible machines that reward people who pay attention and punish those who do not. They genuinely do not care how much you love them if you are not handling the basics. So check your oil pretty much every drive, know your cooling system, address the IMS if you haven't, change your oil at 5,000 miles or less, respect oil temperatures before you push it. Do those things and the Porsche Flat 6 will run for a very long time and you will love it. Mine's straight piped and it sounds oh so good. All right, that's it. If this video made you a little uncomfortable, well, good. That's the point. Like, subscribe so we hit 2 mil by the end of the year. Check out some of these Ideal vids over here. I'm Brad Danger. This is Ideal, and promise me one thing. Keep living the ideal lifestyle.